The forest floor is a tapestry of sounds, and the hunters know its every thread. For this clan of Homo erectus, sound is the most vital tool. It is the snap of a twig that signals the location of a hidden clan member, the low grunt that means wait, the sharp cry that means now. They move through the undergrowth, a scatterjet deeply connected unit. They hunt for a giant deer, a complex orchestration of auditory cues. The world of prehistoric life is loud, and their survival depends on listening to its story. One hunter, a young female, is positioned on a ridge. Her role to listen for the doctor team and signal the moment the deer breaks cover. Her ears, honed by a lifetime of attentiveness, are more critical than the stone axe in her hand. This intricate coordination, this reliance on shared sounds, is a cornerstone of their success, a vital chapter in the long saga of hominid history. She sees the light first. It is not the sun. It is a second sun, a searing white star that appears from nowhere in the blue canvas of the midday sky, moving with impossible speed. The forest sounds falter, birdsong ceases, the drone of insects dies. There is a moment of profound, unnatural quiet, as if the world is holding its breath. The hunter stares, her mind struggling to place this impossible object, this silent, brilliant wound in the sky. This visitor from beyond the world, a massive stone known as a bolide, is on a collision course with the atmosphere. It does not strike the ground. Miles above the forest, the intruder explodes. The light is absolute, a silent, instantaneous flash that erases the world, breaching the landscape to a skeletal white indetching black after images onto the hunter's retinas. She throws a hand over her eyes, but it is too late. The light has burned its way into her skull. A moment of pure, eerie silence follows. Then the air itself becomes a fist. An invisible overpressure wave, the explosion's physical signature, slams into the forest. It is not a sound. It is a brutal, crushing force. The hunter is lifted from her feet and thrown against the rock face behind her. The air is punched from her lungs. She feels a sharp, piercing agony inside her head, a feeling of something delicate and essential tearing apart. All around her, ancient trees snap like twigs. The entire forest flattened in an instant, all pointing away from the source of the blast. When she pushes herself up, the world is a broken, silent ruin. Blood, thick and warm, trickles from her ears. She opens her mouth to scream. The primal, ragged impulse. She feels the vibration in her throat, the straining of her muscles. But the world receives no sound. There is nothing. She looks down into the valley and sees other members of her clan staggering to their feet. She sees their mouths open and close, their faces contorted in silent, identical agony. They are shouting at a world that can no longer hear them. The vibrant, living tapestry of sound has been ripped away, leaving only a terrifying, absolute void for these ancient humans. The day the sky screamed was the day their world went silent forever. The first days in the silent world are a waking nightmare. The clan regroups, not through calls, but through frantic, searching eyes. They find each other, one by one, staggering through the splintered, alien landscape of the blowdown zone. Touch becomes the only currency of reassurance. A hand on a shoulder, a desperate grip on an arm. There is a constant, maddening ringing in their heads, the ghost of the sky's scream. A sound that is not a sound. Their attempts to communicate are pathetic, frustrating. They open their mouths and shout, feeling the familiar vibrations in their chests. But the world accepts their efforts with a flat, indifferent silence. Frustration quickly boils into a kind of madness, a profound and terrifying isolation that exists even when surrounded by their own kin. Survival, once a matter of instinct and shared knowledge, has become a series of deadly puzzles. A saber-toothed cat, a predator they would normally hear from 100 paces, walks into their camp in the dead of night. It is only the frantic flailing of the one on watch, whose eyes happen to catch the glint of a fang in the firelight, that prevents a massacre. They drive it off. But the lesson is brutal. Their ears are gone. Their greatest defense has been stolen. The world is now a stage for silent, unseen death. The hunt is a disaster. The lead hunter, a powerful male, tries to orchestrate their old strategy. He points, he waves his arms. He tries to convey the complex plan of flanking and driving, but the nuance is lost. A young hunter moves too soon. Another mistakes the signal. The giant deer they corner bolts in the wrong direction, vanishing into the flattened forest without a sound. They return to camp empty-handed, the gnawing in their bellies now matched by a cold, rising despair. They are no longer a clan of hunters. They are a scattered, clumsy mob, deaf and starving in a broken world. This is not just a chronicle of the past. It is an invitation to listen to the silence with them, to feel the terror of a world where all warnings have ceased. It is the lead hunter, his face a mask of fury and desperation. He makes the first breakthrough. He gathers the crown, his movement sharp and angry. He points to his eyes, then sweeps his hand across the horizon watch. He points to his nose and sniffs the air smell. These are simple, instinctual gestures. But then he does something new. He holds up his hand, fingers splayed. He mimes the deer's atlas, then makes a swift running motion with the fingers. He then brings the two halves of the hunting party, represented by his hands, together in a pincer motion. He looks from face to face, his eyes burning with an urgent, desperate plea. Do you see? A young female, the one who saw the star fall, mimics his gestures back to him. Deer, run, pincer. A spark of understanding crosses the void. It is a staggering, revolutionary moment. Their survival will now depend not on vocal cords, but on a raw, deliberate system of body and hand signals. A desperate form of kinds I see as born in the silent ruin. They have lost their ears, but they may have just found a new kind of voice. The language of hands grows. It is a slow, clumsy evolution, forged in the crucible of daily survival. A flat palm held up means stop. A hand slicing across the throat means danger. A hand cupped to the mouth means water. Each new gesture is a victory against the suffocating silence. A new thread woven into the fabric of their shattered community. The children, with the fluid adaptability of the young, learn it fastest. They invent new signs, creating a playful, complex dialogue that the adults struggle to imitate. This forced innovation, this dramatic cognitive shift, is rewiring their brains, creating new pathways for communication and abstract thought. The hunt changes. It is no longer an orchestration of sound, but a ballet of sight. They learn to use the landscape itself as a form of communication. A broken branch placed a certain way means the prey went this way. A pile of 3 stones means we meet here. They become observers of a subtlety they never knew existed. They learn to read the slight, nervous flicker of a deer's ear, the agitated sway of a branch that betrays a hidden predator. Their eyes, now their only true defense, become preternaturally sharp. They have lost one sense, but, in doing so, have heightened another to a level their hearing ancestors could never have imagined. But the memory of the sky scream does not fade. The event becomes the central pillar of their new reality, a moment of divine, terrifying power that separates the old world from the new. They cannot explain it through the logic of their known world, so they explain it through belief. It was a god, or a demon, or the sky itself, angry and vengeful. This is the very genesis of a new religion, a form of ritualization born from a shared, world-shattering trauma. Their behavior changes in a profound, lasting way. Every evening, as the light fades, the clan now performs a new ritual. They gather at the highest point of their territory, a ridge that overlooks the vast, flattened forest, and they simply watch the sky. They stand in silence, a community bound by a shared, deafening memory, and they look up, their eyes scanning the heavens for any sign of another falling star. It is an act of communal vigilance, of worship, of fear. The children, born into the silent world, do not know the sound of thunder or the rustle of the wind, but they know this ritual. They know that the greatest power, the greatest danger, comes from above. The young female, the one who first saw the light, is now the leader of this ritual. She directs their silent gaze, her hands telling the story of the day the world broke. Her signs are no longer just for survival. They are for memory, for history. For her, it is a final, profound act of altruism, ensuring that the lesson of that terrible day is never forgotten. That the story of their survival is passed on not in words, but in a silent, reverent dance of hands against the twilight. They have adapted, they have survived, but they are forever marked. A clan of sky watchers who now listen to the world not with their ears, but with their souls. This clan's sudden immersion into silence is a stark, powerful metaphor for the fragility of our own perception. Their story, lost to the deep currents of prehistory, illustrates a fundamental truth. Our reality is defined by the senses we use to interpret it. When one of those senses is stripped away, the world is not just diminished, it is reborn, terrifying and new. Their struggle and adaptation represent a compressed, brutal version of our own cognitive journey as a species. They were forced to invent a symbolic language, to find new ways to build trust and community, to create a mythology that could explain the incomprehensible. Their silence reminds us that our own world is saturated with a constant hum we take for granted. We have forgotten how to read the subtle, silent language of the world, a language our deafened ancestors were forced to master. Their story is an echo in the silence, a testament to the fact that even when the world stops speaking to us, humanity will find a new way to listen. True communication is not the sharing of sounds, but the desperate, silent bridging of a shared void. But what if the thing that falls from the sky is not a rock, but a seed?